The man on the stand does not look like a monster. He looks like any other middle-aged Gambian, tired eyes, worn uniform, hands that can't quite find a place to rest. But when he leans toward the microphone, the hall seems to tilt. "I was with the junglers," he says. "We killed people on the president's orders." A murmur ripples through the gallery. Some here already know this. They lived it. But today, the names are different. Today, the victims are not journalists, migrants, or opposition politicians. Today, the story cuts closer. "Tell us about Yahya Jammeh," a commissioner asks. Saiku Jallo leans into the microphone, the air thick with anticipation. "He told me himself," Jallo says, his words slicing through the silence like a blade. Yahya Jammeh regretted it all, killing his own brother Haruna, his sister Masi, his cousin Yasaya. He said Tumbal Tamba had tricked him, fed him lies about plots and betrayals. But by then, the blood was already spilled. Gasps ripple through the crowd at the Truth, Reconciliation and Reparations Commission. Cameras zoom in, capturing the tremor in Jallo's hands. This is no ordinary testimony. This is the unraveling of a dictator's dark heart, exposed under the harsh light of truth. And as Jallo speaks, the ghosts of the past stir, whispering of midnight executions, strangled cries, and a regime built on fear. The screen crackles with archival footage, dusty roads winding through the Gambian countryside, palm trees swaying under a relentless sun. But beneath the serenity, something sinister brews. This is the story of Yahya Jammeh, the man who seized power in a bloodless coup in 1994, promising reform to a nation weary of corruption. He was a young lieutenant then, charismatic, with a smile that masked the storm within. Gambia, Africa's smallest country, nestled along the river that shares its name, became his kingdom. He ruled for 22 years, blending mysticism with brutality, claiming to cure AIDS with herbs while his enforcers silenced dissent in the shadows. Yahya Jammeh was no stranger to this world. Yahya's older brother, he shared the same rural roots in Kanalai, a village where the earth smelled of red dust and mangoes ripening in the heat. Haruna managed Yahya's stores, overseeing the flow of goods that padded the family's pockets. But power corrupts and suspicion festers like an untreated wound. Whispers reached Yahya's ears. Haruna had killed a shopkeeper and a shepherd, crimes born of greed. Worse, he was plotting with cousin Yasaya Kujabi to turn the blade on Yahya himself, to claim the properties, the influence, the throne. These lies came from Tumbal Tamba, a trusted jungler Yahya's elite hit squad, named for the predators of the jungle, men trained to strike without mercy. The junglers were Yahya's shadows, a unit of soldiers handpicked for loyalty and ruthlessness. They operated in the dead of night, their vehicles gliding like phantoms over unpaved roads. Solo Bojang, Sana Manjang, Aliu Jeng, Omar Jallo, known as Oya, these were the names that evoked terror. They answered only to Yahya, their missions whispered over secure lines, executed with clinical precision. No trials, no mercy, just orders and the echo of final breaths. It began on a sweltering day in July 2005. Haruna was summoned to Kanalai, the president's stronghold, a compound fortified with walls that hid lush gardens and dark secrets. The air carried the scent of wood smoke from village fires, mingling with the metallic tang of fear. Haruna arrived unsuspecting, perhaps thinking it a family matter. But the National Intelligence Agency, NIA, waited. They dragged him away, cuffs biting into his wrists, the dust kicking up in clouds as he protested. For 3 months, he languished in a cell at NIA headquarters in Banjul, the capital's humid air seeping through bars, the distant call of muezzins, a mocking reminder of freedom. Yahya brooded in his opulent state house, surrounded by yes-men and Marabou's traditional healers whose divinations fueled his paranoia. Tumbal Tamba fed the flames. Haruna conspires with Yasaya. They want your life, your empire. Yahya's eyes narrowed, his fist clenched around a glass of herbal tea. He believed it, or wanted to. Take care of it, he ordered, his voice low, final. No hesitation. The junglers mobilized. Night fell like a shroud over Gambia. Stars pierced the velvet sky, but on the ground, Darkness concealed the hunters. Tumbal Tamba issued the command. Pick up Haruna from Nia. Solo Bojang slid behind the wheel of a nondescript truck, engine rumbling softly. Sana Manjang rode shotgun, his face impassive, a rope coiled in his lap like a serpent. In the back, Oya and Aliu Jeng flanked the empty seat, their muscles tensed, hearts pounding with the adrenaline of the hunt. They arrived at the Nia under cover of shadows. Haruna was hauled out, disoriented, his clothes rumpled from months of captivity. "Where are we going?" he asked, voice cracking. No answer. They shoved him into the vehicle, Oya and Jeng pressing close, their breaths hot on his neck. The truck lurched forward, heading south toward Canalai. The road twisted through bushland, acacia trees clawing at the sky, the occasional howl of a hyena piercing the silence. Haruna shifted uneasily, sensing the shift from detention to doom. Sweat trickled down his spine, the air thick with unspoken dread. Miles from civilization, Bojang pulled over. The engine died, leaving only the chirp of crickets and the rustle of leaves. "Out!" Manjang barked. Haruna stumbled into the dirt, eyes wide in the moonlight. "Please," he whispered, recognizing the finality, but please fell on deaf ears. Manjang uncoiled the rope, rough fibers biting into palms. Oya and Jeng grabbed Haruna's arms, forcing him against the truck side. The rope looped around his neck, tight, unyielding. Haruna gasped, struggling, his feet kicking up dust. Manjang pulled one end, Oya the other, muscles straining as Haruna's face turned purple, veins bulging. Gurgles escaped his throat, wet and desperate. His body jerked, then went limp. The life squeezed out like water from a rag. They stood there, breathing heavy, the metallic scent of blood faint in the air, though no blood was spilled. Just silence. Bojang dragged the body to a nearby well on his property, a deep pit hidden in the undergrowth. With a heave, they dumped Haruna in, the splash echoing faintly. Covered with branches, erased from the world. Mission accomplished. Tumbal Tamba reported back to Yahya, "It's done." The president nodded, perhaps with a flicker of doubt, but power demands sacrifice. 3 days later, the blade fell again. Yahya Kujabi, the alleged co-conspirator, was next. Manjang acted alone this time, swift and solitary. He lured Yahya under false pretenses, drove him to the same forsaken spot. No witnesses but the stars. A quick struggle, another rope, another body tumbling into the well. The water swallowed him whole, mingling with Haruna's remains. Jasaja's family would search in vain, whispers of disappearance turning to grief. But the web of suspicion spread. Yahya Jammeh, Yahya's sister, couldn't let Haruna's vanishing rest. She hounded her brother, demanding answers in heated family gatherings. "Where is he? What have you done?" Her voice echoed through Canalai's halls, scented with incense and intrigue. Yahya saw threat in her persistence. When the March 2006 coup attempt by Chief of Defense Staff Ndur Cham unraveled, Masi's name surfaced perhaps falsely in the interrogations. Paranoia peaked. "Include her," Yahya commanded. The night of reckoning came swiftly. Junglers assembled at Mile 2 prison, Banjal's notorious hellhole, where the air reeked of despair and unwashed bodies. Prisoners, including Masi and alleged coup plotters like Daba Marina, were yanked from cells. Plastic bags hooded their heads, muffling cries. Loaded into trucks, they rumbled into the night, hearts racing with terror. The convoy halted in dense bush, the same killing grounds. One by one, they were led out. Masi, sensing her end, murmured prayers, her voice trembling but defiant. "Allah is great," she whispered. Sana Manjang stepped forward, pistol in hand. He knocked her to the ground, dirt grinding into her skin. The barrel pressed to her temple, cold and final. A crack split the night, blood blooming like a dark flower. Her body slumped, lifeless. The others followed, shots ringing out, bodies dragged to another well, dumped, forgotten. The junglers wiped their hands, the acrid smell of gunpowder clinging to their clothes. Back at base, they shared a meal, laughter masking the horror. Loyalty, their only salve. Years passed, the regime's grip tightening. Yahya's rule became a tapestry of terror. Journalists vanished, opponents tortured, witchcraft hunts claiming innocence. The junglers' tally grew over 80 souls, by some accounts, but cracks formed. In 2016, electoral defeat forced Yahya into exile in Equatorial Guinea, his empire crumbling. The Turk convened in 2018, a beacon of reckoning, where survivors and perpetrators faced the light. Malik Jatta testifies next, his voice steady but eyes haunted. "We were trained in Kanalai," he says, hand to hand. Weapons, loyalty above all. Their first missions, silencing journalists like Data Hydra, gunned down in his car, blood splattering the dashboard. Then the 2005 massacre of West African migrants, over 50 Ghanaians and others, mistaken for mercenaries. Jatta recalls the orders, from Jammeh himself: execute them all. Bodies hacked, dumped in forests across the border in Casamance, the ground soaked red under moonlight. Amadou Badji echoes it, describing the 2013 horror of Al-Haji Cisse and Ibu Job. Gambian Americans lured back with promises, then chopped to pieces on Jammeh's command. Like animals, Badji whispers, the metallic tang of memory making him flinch. In the witch hunts of 2009, hundreds rounded up, forced to drink hallucinogenic brews, many dying in agony, their screams echoing through makeshift camps. The hearings build, tension coiling like a spring. Conflicting accounts emerge: some junglers deny, others point fingers. Tumble Tammy, the elusive in exile, becomes the scapegoat. Was he the architect, or Jammeh's willing tool? Moral questions hang heavy. Can killers find redemption? Oya reconciles with Imam Baba Lee, whom he tortured, their embrace awkward but genuine under the commission's gaze. But victims' families seethe. Justice, not just words, one widow cries, her voice cracking the room's composure. Fallout spreads beyond the hearings. In 2021, the Turks' final report recommends prosecutions: Jammeh for murder, torture, rape. The government issues a white paper in 2022, accepting most, pledging a hybrid court, but delays mount politics, resources, Jammeh's allies lingering in shadows. In Equatorial Guinea, Jammeh lives in luxury, denying all, his farm a gilded cage. Whispers of his return stir fear, supporters rally online, while victims advocate tirelessly, yet mysteries persist, wells unsearched, bodies unexhumed. Did Jammeh's marabouts truly divine threats, or was it all delusion? And Saiku's confession truth, or survival tactic? The debate rages in Gambian cafes, over ataya tea steaming in the heat, voices rising with passion. As the commission wraps, the sun rises over Banjul, casting golden light on streets alive with vendors and schoolchildren. Gambia heals slowly, scars fading but not forgotten.